What's good, YouTube? My name is Coach, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the draft deck that I built yesterday during the Friday Night Magic draft. So the first cards that we have over here are just based on combat tricks or removal. So we have Broken Wings, destroys an enchantment. Some enchantments are kind of, you'll see the ones that I have that are kind of game winning. I thought it would be important to play this card just because of some of the ascendancies and cards like that that tend to win games. We have a Buy Your Silence. 5 mana. Your opponent creates a treasure token. I think we had 2 copies of Buy Your Silence. Bouncer's Breakdown. This option over here where it says it costs 2 less to cast if it targets a black permanent. I can't tell you how many times that was legitimately relevant while I was playing. So we have Most Wanted, just a combat trick. Luxurious Libation. This card actually won me the final game to go 3-0. The last play that I made yesterday. Pretty good card. I cast it onto the Jewel Thief that has Trample over here and allowed me to win. We have a Boon of Safety, which puts a shield counter on a creature. Knockout Blow, another card that says this spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a red creature. Yeah, so this more often than not costs me 1 mana to play. And there's the other Buy Your Silence, and then we have a Kill Shot. So that's the removal and stuff. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 pieces of removal inside this deck and 1 card to protect our creatures. So when you're drafting, I always was taught to draft based on removal. I have 7. I don't even think I would have minded having 8. Removal is good. We have Jewel Thief. These are all the creatures. So I actually had 2 copies of this Jewel Thief, one of them being foil. This card's kind of broken because it's a 3/3 that has Vigilance and Trample, and there are many ways to buff our creatures inside this meta. So Jewel Thief is just a great card, and it gives you a treasure token. This card is pushed. This card is really strong. And I had 2 of them. One was foil. You have a Dapper Shieldmate. It's 4 mana, enters the battlefield with a shield counter, and then when it's your turn, it's a 4/2. It's a very good blocker. It's a great card. This is the best card probably the entire deck, if I'm being honest. If you're drafting, draft this card, you will probably win. It's a 3 mana flying 2/1 that gains you 1 life and draws you a card. This card is so good. We had 2 of them. Fiend's Informant, another card that enters the battlefield, another white card that enters the battlefield and draws you a card. It connives, which means you have to draw and then discard. And then if it's a non-land, this is essentially a 2 mana 3/2 that draws you a card. And I had 2 of them. Skycrier, a 2 mana, just flying lifelink, just ping for 1 damage every single turn, gain 1 life. Flying, this is a great card. And you can draw cards with it, although I never did that. You have Gathering Throng. I was so lucky to go 1, 2, 3 copies of Gathering Throng. It says when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for any number of cards named Gathering Throng. Reveal them and put them into your hand. So essentially, this just turns into a thing where it's a 3/1, first of all. Your opponent's going to have to use some sort of removal to get rid of your Gathering Throng, or it's just a strong blocker. And then you just have 2 more in your hand. It's just, when I read that, this card is just so good. Then we have Celebrity Fencer. So when you have a Celebrity Fencer on the battlefield, it says it gets a +1/+1 counter for each creature that enters the battlefield under your control. So you have Celebrity Fencer on the battlefield, you get your Gathering Throng, and then you play your other Gathering Throng, and then you play your other Gathering Throng, and next thing you know, this is just like an 8 power creature. You have a Civic Gardener that when it attacks you, untap target creature or land. There's a point to this card because on the best cards that we had, the cards that did super well for us. We have this Capenna Express. Just you crew 3 and you just have a 6/6. This card is good, man. I mean, the fact that we have our Gathering Throngs, we always have Gathering Throng as a 3/1. It's just really easy to turn this into a creature that can just deal 6 damage or block. It's a great card. We have a Rocks Pummeler. Honestly, I never played this card. It was in the deck, but I never saw it. I never drew it. And then we have Ballroom Brawlers. This card is fantastic. It says whenever this attacks, this and one other target creature you control that's attacking both gain either first strike or lifelink until the end of turn. I can't tell you how many times where my opponent would go to attack me for 8 damage, and I'm like, go ahead, just attack me, it's fine. Only for me to get down the Ballroom Brawlers to regain all the life that I was losing. This is... I think I had somebody use 3 removal spells just to get Ballroom Brawlers off the battlefield. I protected it with the shield counter, and then they had to burn 2 more spells to add up to the 5 toughness that this has. A bomb. This card was super good yesterday. A lot better than what I thought it was going to be, honestly. Great card. And then the best card we had was Fight Rigging. This card has Hideaway 5, which legitimately happened, and I was able to cast a removal spell off of it, which was pretty cool. And then it says, at the beginning of your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you put a counter on target creature you control. So, I mean, it's not... I mean, I think in Commander, I don't know if it's one +1/+1 counter is really that relevant. Maybe in the right deck, but in this draft format, being able to just continuously buff your creatures over and over again while your opponent can't really do anything kind of brings them out of the place where you can hit them for removal and to remove them. And it's just a great way to deal damage when you attach the +1/+1 counters to a flyer. It's pretty cool. So that's my draft deck. I hope that people take a look at some of the cards, and if you go to build, or if you go to compete in a draft, you see any of these cards, I highly suggest that you draft some of them. Maybe not this one, honestly. This one didn't really do anything for me. But, you know, it plays well, you know? So I hope you have an amazing day. Always remember, eat healthy, work out every single day. And most importantly, you got to believe in yourself, all right? Peace out, people.